Hello all you Pixel people, I am Pixel and welcome to well, I was going to call it a Pixel's Perspective and then I thought about calling it Let's Talk because I've actually got some plans for a Pixel's Perspective to actually be a full show. So, I don't know what it's going to be titled as yet, but it's basically looking at Battlefield 4 1 year after its, well, semi-release. It was about a year today that the open beta went live and everybody was jumping on and having a good time on Siege of Shanghai. And yeah, I was having a lot of fun back then in the days, especially on Domination. I was really enjoying the infantry combat. I think they had quite a lot of stuff worked out. Then the release happened, and let's be honest, it was far from perfect. We saw some more issues and bugs creep into the game on its full release. But basically, I played pretty regularly for about 3 or 4 months. And I did enjoy myself. Obviously, I was getting very frustrated. There was lots of videos on the channel where I was complaining about lots of issues I was having with like stuff like the netcode, SLI issues, random performance, them taking certain aspects out of the game. But all that set aside, I was still having a fair amount of fun with it. And I even went as far to say that this could be probably the best first-person shooter on a technical level ever released. I mean, it was 64 players, vehicles, and I know Battlefield 3 did it, but Battlefield 4 just seemed to have something extra, which unfortunately meant taking away some of the cool aspects of Battlefield 3 and some of the more reliability features. But overall, I kind of enjoyed the what were they calling it now? When everything gets destroyed, was it something destruction? I can't remember what it was called. Dang it. Levolution, that was it. Some of the Levolution aspects where you could like blow up buildings and stuff. That was all really cool. The network water was really cool. And just the amount of content that you got in the game was also very, very cool. But then I started getting a little bit bored of it. I mean, the DLC was always delayed due to the issues with the core game. So I kind of just dropped off Battlefield. And I haven't played it that much since China... Was it China Rising? Yeah, it was China Rising. I played a little bit after China Rising was released. And then I basically jumped off it. So since then we've had a couple more DLC packs. And the game has just, like literally a couple of days ago now, had a huge patch which is supposed to have changed the movement system, fixed an awful lot of stuff, and made the game almost as good as Battlefield 3 in a reliability and stability and all that kind of shenaz kind of thing. But well, how do I put it? Well, after that happened, I decided that it'd be cool to jump back onto Battlefield 4. I installed it again, and to be honest, I played a few games and I enjoyed myself. But slowly, since that patch has been released, I have started noticing some more issues, and it's kind of really disappointing because I honestly still do believe that this is one of the best first-person shooters ever released. It's just little frustrating things. I mean, they haven't fixed all the issues that I had previously. There is still problems with the scopes, it's still trading kills, you die behind walls every now and again, lots of little bugs in there, but overall I do think there was a small improvement. I don't think it was as big as what everybody made out or as what DICE and EA made out in the press releases and stuff as well, but overall it got a little bit better, and it got me thinking too, well, we've played a little bit of Hardline, and I'm not that interested. It doesn't feel as good as Battlefield 4. Don't get me wrong, it's a very early beta, but yeah, so Battlefield 4 is coming to an end, and not too much longer left, really, in its life cycle as the most popular game. And I was kind of hoping when I jumped back on the game, I'd be able to play some games with lots of people, and play the new maps and play Domination and some new modes. And what I found out was the same thing that everybody complains about each year, and I've done the same. I've complained about it each year, but this year I got suckered into buying Premium because, I don't know, I was hyped by the beta, so I purchased Premium, and the last couple of days I've tried to play some Domination on some of the new maps, which it's just not possible anymore. I really think that DICE and EA need to take a closer look at how people are using the server system and all that kind of jazz, because right now what's happening is you can play during the premium only time. Lots of servers decide to pick it up, and then a couple of weeks after launch, loads of people are playing on these new maps, but then they kind of just vanish, and I think it's a real shame. I mean, you do pay a fair amount of money 4 maps and a couple of weapons, in all fairness. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind paying that amount of money if everybody could play it. And I know that's kind of an awkward situation where, well, if everybody can play it, then why would they pay for it, and blah, 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 blah. But I just think, in general, we need to try and come up with a way where premium cannot be related to content, because some of these maps are spectacular. The map that, I can't remember what the map's called, but it's the one in North Korea. It's one of my favourite maps in the Battlefield franchise so far. It's snowy, white, but it just feels nice. And the most I've got to play is a couple of maps. I mean, I think this has got a Conquest 24/7 server, but I just managed to play a couple of rounds on it on servers which are rotating through all of the DLC maps. And one thing that annoys me is it kind of makes me think that maybe it is just my issue, but a lot of these servers now have implemented the vote map system, which means that certain maps get played an awful lot, certain maps don't get played at all. And as someone who purchased premium, I'm actually struggling to be able to play a map that I want to play, which it's kind of awkward. But I'm trying to think how you explain it. Well, I know. Let's say I'm going to compare it to chocolate bars, because it was the first thing that came to my mind. So, you go into a shop, and you've got all them chocolate bars laid out in front of you. All of them. And basically, you get to vote which one you take. And you will always take your favourite one. Constantly. It's just how it goes. You'll keep taking your favourite one, because the options that you've got in front of you are basically limitless. However, if you went to that same shop and they didn't have your favourite chocolate bar and you still wanted some chocolate, you'd try something new. And the problem with the voting map system for Battlefield 4, in my opinion, is that it just keeps cycling through the same maps, and other maps don't get played, which means if your favourite map just happens to be one which isn't very popular, you're never going to get to play it, even though the people which are voting against it, voting for a different map, would be quite willing to play it. A lot of the time, they will be more than happy. It's just, out of all the maps they want to play this map. So they vote for that map, and the map doesn't get played. And what I'm trying to get at is, I think Battlefield 4 over the past 12 months has improved. It's still not perfect. It's still broken in many aspects. But in general, it has improved, and I'm excited for the next Battlefield game. Not Battlefield Hardline, I'm talking about the next Battlefield game, a real Battlefield game. Where we are going to be in jungles and large environments. I'm not really too thrilled with the cityscape, which is kind of strange when I'm just saying right now that I love the North Korean map, which is basically a cityscape, but it's a little bit different, definitely. So I'm excited for the next Battlefield game, but what I really, really, really want DICE and EA to sit down and actually think about is, how do we get this content into the hands of more people? There's multiple ways. You can lower the price, you can do a special order at the start, which is like $20 more, which will give you all the premium DLC if you buy it as a pre-order. Or you could just release the maps on a timed exclusive for like a month to premium only players, and then pump that out to the rest of the community. Sure, you might lose some money in the short term, but you just need to find a way of actually adding some new kind of content to the premium system and convince people to buy it. Maybe premium needs to be a lot cheaper than what it currently is. Maybe the idea is not having just 5 or 6% of people pick up premium, but I have like 95% of people pick up the premium. Well, I know that's never going to happen, but you know what I mean. It's just, I want to play these maps, and I want to enjoy the Battlefield experience, except I'm being forced to play stuff that I don't like to play. But that really can't take away from the game, I suppose. I mean, that is basically my own issue. But yeah, so it's been nearly a year for Battlefield. I've kind of enjoyed it, I've kind of hated it at the same time. I'm not excited for Hardline, I'm excited for the next big Battlefield game. And I really hope that we can get this content into people's hands, because putting maps behind a paywall may seem like a perfectly reasonable idea. And honestly, I believe that it is a perfectly reasonable way of doing things. However, it's not that reasonable if the people that pay also don't get to play these maps that you put so much time and effort and charged us for. So, yeah, that's my Battlefield 4 experience for the past 12 months. I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. This is something which I'm hopefully going to start doing more often again. I know that I basically fell off the radar with everything apart from Let's Plays, but yeah, I'll be back soon, guys. Thanks for watching. Till next time. Bye-bye.